Hi, welcome to Developer Village. In today's video we are going to see how we can install Flutter in Windows system and set the path in environment variable and what application required for run the Flutter. This is the official URL for Flutter. As you can see, for all environment we have different Flutter SDK. I'm selecting Window. You can check the system requirement here. You need Windows 10 or more, 1.6 GB disk space and depend tool. These tools are by default available in Windows 11. I'm going to download the SDK and you can check the size of downloaded file. Let's complete SDK download. We need the Visual Studio Code IDE for write the code, so let's download and install Visual Studio Code. You can see both files downloaded. Let's go to set up these application. First I will set up Flutter SDK, then we will check what application we should set up for Flutter. Flutter SDK is not an installation file. So we need to put all SDK in a folder and provide the SDK path in environment variable of system. I paste the SDK file and extract the zip file here. It discovers all the SDK file and extract them. Let's extract the SDK in background. In between, let's download and install Android Studio. In Flutter, for Android app development we need Android SDK.
We can download Android SDK separately, but in future, I'm going to use Android Studio as IDE and I need Android emulator. So I'm going to install Android Studio, SDK, AVD Manager and IDE. We can find all the thing in Android Studio. Let's go and quickly install Android Studio. Let's configure with default setup. We need to accept license agreement for both Android SDK license and Intel Android Extra license. Android Studio setup is complete. Only we need to accept Android license for Flutter. We will do that later. The extraction of Flutter SDK is complete. Let's move ahead for environment path setup. We have all the Flutter batch file here. First we need to copy the path where SDK placed. Then navigate to system environment. Then create a new environment variable with name flutter_home. You can give any name here. Then navigate to path variable and inside path variable, we need to add flutter_home variable with adding bin folder path. When you add the batch file path in environment, you can access that batch file from anywhere. Otherwise, Flutter command only accessible in this folder. Let's run the flutter doctor command in cmd. It will show what are the things required for Flutter development. As you can see, some error we can find in Android toolchain and Visual Studio. Android toolchain we need to fix. Let's open the Android Studio and navigate to the SDK Manager. Then navigate to the SDK Tools tab. In third line you can find Android SDK command line tools. We need to install that one. Let's run flutter doctor Android licenses command again and let's accept all the licenses. We accept all the licenses. Now let's run flutter doctor once again and let's see. Only Visual Studio setup is pending. Let's quickly do that. Right now, I didn't connect any mobile device. So we need the Visual Studio setup for run the app in window. In Visual Studio, we only need to install desktop development with C++. Now all the setup are done. Let's set up a sample project in local and try to run it. Oops, we didn't install Visual Studio Code yet. Let's quickly install that one.